What is up, my beautiful people? Exile451 here again today. I hope you had a great weekend, but since I know Mondays aren't the most enjoyable, I thought it would be good to go back to r/happy today and start the work week out on the right foot. Got a long story today, so I'm only gonna do this one, but I'm sure you're gonna enjoy it. It's a tearjerker. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, and feel free to comment as well. Love to hear from you. Now sit back, relax, and let's get happy. Nearly a decade-long love story turns out a happy ending. High school sweethearts together again. When I was 14 years old, the first month of high school, a classmate of mine shot me a text stating he had a crush on me. This was a surprise, because up until a week ago, this classmate was not fond of me. Found out recently that the reason they didn't like me was because they always want to be the smartest kid in the room, and their ego didn't like that I was a good student too. We dated for a month afterwards, and I broke up with him after a month because he was so shy. He wouldn't even hold my hand. We stayed close friends. He dated others, I dated others. Fast forward to junior year. I'm dating a mutual friend of ours who is extremely toxic, manipulative, and abusive. My self-esteem and quality of life are at an all-time low. I was young and naive and didn't realize my current partner was abusive. That's just how men show love. Super traumatic childhood and upbringing. I had a very warped perception of love. My friend confesses he's never lost feelings for me, that he just wanted to grow into a person that would make me happy. No pressure. If I didn't want to be with him, that would be fine. He told me that love wasn't what I was getting from my current boyfriend though, and that I deserved better. Some time passes and I break up with my abusive partner and give my friend another chance. And he treats me so good, unbelievably good. Never raises his voice or hits me. He is kind and gentle and patient, and I become so scared. When does the other shoe drop? I began to self-sabotage our relationship, making up mountains out of molehills. It's common for folks who have an abusive past to always be on guard. If no one in your life has been kind to you before, then what does this guy gain by being kind to me now? What's the motive? Cue abusive ex. Threatens to kill himself if I don't do as he wants. Uses his own history of abuse to justify his abuse to me. I'm 16 and still so naive, and I fold. I immediately come clean and tell my partner. We break up, I give him space. A few months go by, he tells me that he still loves me and wants to try again. We stay together for the remainder of high school. We decide to go to two different universities far from one another. Long distance doesn't work, and we agree to split up again. 4 years pass. I date different people, he goes on a few dates. We see each other every break we go home. He is just as kind as always, and I assume that he's moved on, which kills me because I miss him. We graduate with our degrees, and I'm looking towards my master's, completely focused on my career and getting out from under my abusers. He asks me to meet him for coffee, which is very normal. As I said, we make a point of always seeing one another. He is nervous, and it all just comes spilling out. He says he's always loved me from when we were 14 and so stupid. That when he yearns for someone to fall asleep next to, it's always me he wants. That when he is asleep and dreams of his future family, he always sees me as the mother of his children. And when he daydreams of growing old, it's next to me. He couldn't find a partner during college because every woman wasn't the one. I'm ecstatic. But if my life has taught me anything, it's that you can't rely on anyone, and the way others treat you can be fickle. I tell him that although I'm glad, I have my career to focus on. He says all he wants is me. It always has been. And he offers to move to the city I'm studying in, put his career on hold so I can pursue my master's, and that he's sorry he's waited so long to tell me. I used to think happy endings didn't happen to people like me. Too bruised, too battered, maybe even too broken to deserve happiness. From birth till 18 years, my life was an endless tragedy. People like me were too rough around the edges, too damaged beyond repair. I've been going to therapy to unlearn my trauma and harmful coping skills. I've surrounded myself with loving, kind, and supportive people who don't use me as a means to an end. I've forged strong bonds with my family. I've put myself through school. I worked 3 jobs for 4 years. I don't have any debt for my bachelor's degree, not a single penny to anyone. I'm about to buy my first car, all on my own savings and no one else's help. I have a job and an internship already lined up to put me through my master's. And that little 14-year-old boy who was so shy he wouldn't even hold my hand, he's a fine young man who I'm happy to call my partner. And we are moving into our first apartment together next month. Whenever we see children while we are out and about, he points them out and how excited he is to be a father someday. How he can't wait to marry me in the church next to his grandmother's house, and how he won't ever make my birth mother's mistakes. Life has been a struggle for me, to say the least, but for the first time, I can breathe. I'm free from my past, and I have a future that looks like more than pain, poverty, and homelessness. I can't wait to wake up each day. From the time I was 5, I can remember my birth mom telling me to use my looks and sex to manipulate those around me to bend them to my will. That love wasn't real, and only a good, rich, white man's wife was all I'd amount to. I can't wait for my future with him. I can't wait for my career to take off. I'm so glad I'm still alive, and I can finally breathe. For the first time, I'm more than fine. I'm great. And I can breathe. Have a good day, everyone. Whoa. That was heavy. Well, OP, that is a tragic and yet very uplifting story at the same time. You know, sometimes it takes a bit for people to realize what it is that they want to do or who it is that they really want to be with. But when you find that love, it's so wonderful, and it is a good thing that you found it so that you don't continue to go through life with that warped perception that you've had. Thank you so much for sharing something that I'm sure is extremely personal to you, and for letting it lift other people up in the process. And I'm so glad to hear that everything's coming together now. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that story gave you some hope for the future and touched you the same way it did for me. I want to thank all of you again for the support you continue to give the channel. Average daily views are going up, subscriber count is inching ahead, and these videos are slowly starting to make their way through social media, so I'm incredibly grateful for everything you've done to help. This channel would be nothing without you. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Feel free to comment and share on social media as well if you like. Have a happy Monday, everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow. Until then, I'm Exile451. Stay beautiful, people.